Hey, Kelly.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, thanks for joining this committee. You know, your historic knowledge is going to be invaluable.
But Kelly, listen, I hope we can accomplish something. That's
You do.
and that's what's so frustrating on my behalf.
I know.
I mean, I don't need to tell you. I'm preaching to the choir.
I know.
I
know. I share it. So what I want to do is make sure that every one of these meetings is super compact and productive.
Yeah.
Between meetings, if there's stuff to do, people go off and do it and come back with the information, and then boom, boom, boom.
Right. Right. But realistically, Kelly, I mean, you heard George. Putting it behind the treatment center, I don't think it's ideal, personally. I don't think you do, or I don't think anyone on the board does. Keeping where it is and getting some backlash for aesthetics, I think that's where that's my belief.
Well, I think the thought of if it goes to multi-sport is that it needs to have more space than it has right now.
Absolutely.
And so and there are environmental issues with doing big renovations there.
Right.
That people in this village.
Well, I don't need to tell you, Kelly.
I mean, who will just have a fit.
Right. And what's key to everything else, no matter what level is, you're always going to piss someone off, or group, or a sliver, a segment. But overall, if 90% of it buys in, it's a slam dunk. You're going to get resistance.
What was fascinating was when the tennis committee was meeting, and they were looking at different facilities that offer, like soccer and tennis, or, lacrosse, but playing fields,
Right.
And these are huge money makers.
Yeah.
Huge.
Kelly, listen, I've been involved with my kids from soccer for many, many years, and many years prior to that. Okay. Down in Mount Vernon, they got a dome there.
I've been there.
Okay. 24/7. You've got Iona College in there, okay, who basically play in the men's league overnight. I mean, it's just incredible how much money it can generate for us. I'd rather take it over, and I've said this many times, I'd rather have the village own it or have ownership than Claude.
Yeah. The problem is going to be funding, money.
Yeah.
Getting the money to build it. That was the beauty of Claude's plan, was he was going to pay for it,
Right. And he absorbed, it's like, on the normal circumstances, we make about $250,000, I think.
Less than that, but 210 maybe. But yeah,
200, whatever it may be. Say 200.
Yep.
It's great. We got our hands are. We sit back and just reap the benefits. It's like that. The flagpole brings in sizable.
Hi, Tina.
All right.
Hi, how are you?
All
right. How are you?
Hello, Tina.
Hi, how are you? Kelly, did you get to talk to Jerry about the dog park?
I did not talk to him about the dog park. I wanted to see Sally's plan, that she has the old Sport Time municipal or multi-sport layout. I wanted to see that before I talk to him. Maybe you can fit both of them. Maybe both of them fit there. I don't know.
Okay.
But I just wanted to have that first.
Okay, no problem.
Let me just point out, I don't know if you've noticed, my lights are flickering. They've been flickering for days all over my house. And the regatta lost power today at some point. Something's up.
Well, there's a lot of construction that's taking place throughout the community. I mean, I don't need to tell you, it's easy to cut a line or disturb a line as well.
This is not okay.
Sure you're not in Texas?
I mean, I feel like if this keeps up, like I'm going to have a seizure or something. My mom's in Texas. She's had a very hard
time. Really?
Yeah. No water, no
do you
electricity.
Have family members down there? Kelly,
What?
Do you have is she there alone, or do you have family members down there? Other than
she's alone. She lives alone. She has she uses a walker to get around her house. My sister lives down there. my sister will not take care of her.
Ugh,
My mom called my sister like begging for water.
oh,
And my
Lord.
sister said, call your neighbor.
Oh, no.
So it's just, families can be so complicated. They
Oh,
really, really can.
and your last name doesn't end in a vowel. Mine does. Tina, you know what I'm talking about.
You
Okay?
couldn't do that if it ended in a vowel.
All right. You have no idea, Kelly. You're on. I mean, let me rephrase that. I have an inkling, but the Italians, I
Especially a girl.
Madonna.
I just think that, she should be better taken care of,
Did she
Hi,
live within
Sally.
an hour?
I'm sorry.
Hello.
Hey, Sally.
Her power has come back
Okay.
and her
good.
water. But in the meantime, I told her, you got to keep a bathtub full of water so you can
Yeah.
flush a toilet.
Sally, are you still away?
No.
You look so happy to
We
be
can
home.
see it.
Mm.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I got back in from Utah last night, and my son wanted to come home because he had to go to school, which is P.S. It's I need to be in my double screened room away from people seeing the naughty things I'm up to. That's it. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yes, you are. But anyway, now I'm here, and now we're hiding away because I've got to wait for the next 4 days before we can take another silly test. I walked into the place in Utah. They went, "You're going back to New York, aren't you?" I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "You're the only people that are getting tested around here. No one else is. They all come in one after the other, going back to New York."
Your pictures look beautiful.
Oh, it's so stunning there.
I
You want
should,
skiing?
I should just let you all know we're being recorded. So
Oh,
the recording is on. I don't know who would want to go look at these tapes, but you never know.
I've been recorded all morning. I've been on Zoom since 8 this morning. So I've been recorded all day. So now I'm going to be a TV star.
Sally, I'm sorry. That's a busy day.
It is.
Should we start?
Jeff, I
Should we
think
look-
Jeff was somebody. I just saw him. He's trying to get on. He's calling me. Hold on. Hey, Jeff.
Sally.
Are you
So
going to?
I went in by the public link and nobody can see or hear me. I can't find an email with a special link.
Oh, I'll
Do you
send
know
it.
who sent that?
Yeah, it was called the,
It was called Zoom.
no, it was called Clerk Treasurer.
Ah,
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Came
I was
from Augie.
Switching on Sally.
Yeah, it says,
Let me,
yeah.
okay, let me try this. I think it's going to work. I'll see you in a second. Bye.
I just sent it to you again.
How you doing, Manny?
How are you?
hi.
Manny, I like your background.
Thank you.
It's much better than mine.
Yeah, I like to use it.
Hey, Jeff, you made it in.
I made it. I was in the public link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see you in the public link. I've been watching attendees so that I could promote you, but I didn't see you in there.
I joined shortly and I realized what was going on.
And
Then I
you,
couldn't find the email.
okay, but you're here now. So let's start our meeting. Sally, do you mind just being chair again? If you, I mean, you were just really good at this and you have the background knowledge and
All right.
I mean,
For you.
thank you.
I second
just-
that.
Sally just runs a really great meeting and she just,
I
Got a
second
knack
that.
for it.
she'll just keep everything moving and very efficient and things will get done. I know.
I think you're dreaming that one. I think you're in the space world that Manny's in.
You know what? It's the spring day. The spring day has lightened my mood. I see nothing but rainbows and unicorns today.
You sound just like my husband. He keeps spotting unicorns all day. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Okay,
Okay.
go
All
ahead.
right. So then I would love to have a somebody to help me be the secretary. Tina.
The second-
Oh, no, Jeff.
I am no
I'm
good
I'm
at
fine
that.
sharing it. I just last time around I was secretary, but
No, I
Tina,
think
would
you
you
did
like
an
to share it with
amazing
me?
Job.
Jeff, you did a
I'm no good at doing two things at once.
Jeff, you did a great job at recording everything. I just need to tell you that you don't need to do that much unless you want to. The only thing you need to record are action items like votes. That's it. You know, who made the motion, who made the second, and what the vote was, and what the issue was, right? That's really, that's what you have to do. Anything else you do is gravy, and you did a lot of gravy last time. So
Okay.
don't like let this interfere with your life in a way that makes you angry or resentful for the work you're doing here, because it's very important.
Okay.
Jeff, I just want to say this is all recorded. So when it comes back round and Kelly goes, why didn't you take those minutes down? You can go, here's the recording.
That's good to know.
And I'll say the minutes that you took during the tennis committee meetings have been incredibly helpful to our new members because it brought them up to speed very quickly.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, I'm going to step back and let you guys do your thing.
So I think where we last left off, the last meeting, we had a couple of things we needed to do, and I think we did it, which was to forward the Harbour Island plan to everybody, and then also the sport time plan, which we also forwarded. I just want to make sure that you all got a copy of those.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
I didn't.
Oh. Then we'll need to make sure that I'll forward those on to you.
Thank you.
Did anybody have any thoughts or any comments when they read them? You clearly read them very thoroughly.
I was part of that committee back in the day. So I'm pretty well versed.
I thought it was a really good plan, to be honest with you, didn't you think? I mean, I thought it was
plan are we
pretty
gonna talk
thorough.
about first? Sorry, which plan are we going to talk about first? Because I looked at both the master and
I would,
Sport time.
if we start with the master, because I think Carlo was on that committee and put that forward, didn't you?
Well, I was part of, I mean, I wasn't like a co-chair or anything like that, but I was part of the soccer organization users down there. So that's the second master plan that we've gone through. One was like in the 60s, I think, that never got implemented. And this is the same scenario on this next go around. We come up with these wonderful plans. We've spoken at also, Tina, you know, at the rec committee as well. And again, nothing got implemented, you know, and it's great on paper. But we need to put it into action, some of it, not all of it, over time. And that was the plan, basically.
Do you know if the one in the 60s proposed moving the tennis courts?
No, I can't, I don't know that one. I don't know.
Carlo, was that the one that had like a second road coming in and all that?
Yeah,
That was a great plan.
right. You know, so we were supposed to build new structures, you know, and on and on and on. But it just, you know, we went to the expense, we went to the time and effort, and all it did is sit on someone's shelf and just collect dust. And, you know, why go to the expense and the time? You know, and again, we can do it in baby steps or in phases, you know. And I know money is a big issue, a big thing.
yeah. When I was looking through it, I just saw that there was the 2004 master plan. I just saw that it was supposed to be done in phases, and some little changes were made out of that. Like I just know, like the first visual ones I remember seeing were like maybe like the benches were changed, the garbage cans were changed, like small little changes like that were made, but like none of like the major things that were like put forward in that plan were ever really changed. I remember there was like a new building for, I think for like to sell like for vendors to sell like food or something like that was in there. That's not at the harbor, and I think that would be something that'd be like really good if you put it down by the beach or you know whatever the location would be. I just noticed that some of like the bigger structures never got like implemented there at all. I just see like a lot of the small visual things like the lights, the lampposts, the garbage cans, the dumpster moving from in front of the bathroom. A lot of like the tiny things like that kind of like were implemented, but nothing like very large.
Cosmetics.
Yeah.
So with that master plan, Kelly, is it worth us coming back to the, you know, the trustees and asking them if they would be willing to review it? Could we ask them to do that?
But I would think would be more helpful is if you take that master plan and do what you want with it and then ask to review it. Because I don't think you want to get them to review a master plan that then you're going to try to change, right?
But I
In 10
think,
years, sorry.
I'm sorry, but reviewing the master plan took a lot of people a lot of time, and they went nowhere. So my concern about is doing it all over again to find it's gone nowhere.
I think that if you ask people to review the master plan now, they will want to change it. They'll want to start all over again, and you'll end up just with a mess on your hands. So I suggest you take what's recommended in the master plan, take what you like, get rid of what you don't like, but build in year-round recreation, however and wherever you think it makes best sense. Then you can go to the Board of Trustees and say, you know, here's what we did. Here were recommendations made by the community, you know, in this draft Harbor Island Master Plan that was never adopted, but we used this as a starting point because we didn't want to toss out all those discussions. I think if you ask the board to review it and adopt it now, it will be tossed. It will, I mean, Carlo nods, he knows. It's just, go to them with what you want, because that would just be a baby step that wouldn't get you anywhere. That's
And
my
things
advice.
have
kinda agree.
changed. I'm sorry, things have changed in 10 years or whatever the time period is. But like a small, I mean, I always pushed it like a walking path around the perimeter of, you know, the seawall and all that into Orienta and so forth. I mean, it's not that expensive. And people, especially today, everyone's walking. You know, I mean, if you walk along the seawall, I mean, there are ruts there, people can get injured, I mean, it's unsafe, you know, I mean, on and on. You know, so it's, you know, a minor thing like that, that shows that you're doing something, you know? And it's not for the soccer people, it's not for the baseball people, but something, you know, it's just a starting point.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I-
It's not,
I agree. I think like, I kind of agree with, we need to like review that old one from whatever 2004, whatever the year is, and then we kind of can just dissect and take parts of it out. Like, because obviously some of the stuff was implemented, and I think what we put in the front of the board would be, you know, what things weren't implemented that we think need to happen. Like you said, like a walking path, like that's something that I think should definitely happen. And you know, I know in there, like the tennis courts, that's always a big thing, like
Right.
relocating them. I don't know if that's possible, but relocating them so they're not like, you know, so people don't have to visually have to always like see them like right in the middle of the park. You know, just trying to tell them some of those changes. Whether we put that in like a bulleted dock with like, you know, something like that, or yeah, I don't know how we would go as far as long doing that.
and you know, and with the tennis too, I mean, I don't think, I mean, you guys heard it from George. I don't think putting it where the treatment center is gonna happen personally. Keeping where it is, and like I said the other day, last week, whenever it was, expanding into the blacktop, I don't know, 25% either way. You know, is it gonna be a full-length football field or soccer field? Probably not, but some is better than none. And you know, it's a big time moneymaker for the community. It'll make tons of money for the community in lots of ways.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
you know, it would make a lot of money.
No,
Sally,
I heard that bit, but what's blacktop?
No, the parking areas. I mean, because the parking areas aren't utilized at 100% capacity. So if you encroach on it 25%, either way, you know, I think it's doable. You know, and again, I know you have to take into environmental studies and all that stuff, but with new technology and everything else, it probably could be done.
Yeah, I think a new kind of modern building where we can kind of avoid kind of like, I remember we talked about like the water runoff when it rained. Like if we can kind
Right.
of get something new to kind of solve those problems, because like you said, like the technology is there to kind of go in and do that. So I think the building just needs to be, you know, expanded, but then also that original building needs to be kind of renovated to kind of implement some of those things.
I agree.
And you're always going to have backlash about that bubble being there, you know, and no matter where you put it, you're always gonna have some sort of backlash.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the driver, right, for what came out of the tennis committee recommendations, right? The driver was that we were being told it wasn't sustainable to keep it in the same place because of the flooding issues. Even though that may be a driver in some people's minds, right? I can't get away from that as a starting point here, right? I mean, do we need to move the tennis courts or not because of environmental issues and concerns and long-term planning?
I mean, the other thing that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tina, or whoever.
If I understood correctly though, like once the upgrades are made, won't it be less of an environmental impact with the
Well,
new?
I think if I could just jump in, I think the question is whether you can make those upgrades, because the courts need to be rebuilt. And if you're going to rebuild them, the question is whether, I mean, municipalities can rebuild them. The question is whether you could get the environmental permitting if you weren't a municipality. The question is whether the community at large would support a project that wouldn't be otherwise permitted under environmental regulations. That's the problem.
Why wouldn't the village do it? Like, I feel like it should, I mean, and I'm not a tennis person. I know Sally and Jeff, you've been involved in there, but like I always thought that the village should be running the tennis courts. Like, you guys could be making money off of it. Yes, maybe it's a little bit of work.
That's
there's
actually that's a different issue.
Yeah.
That's a different issue. And in fact, I think it was kind of unanimously understood that the village should not be running the tennis program. That running a tennis program involves real expertise and relationships with tennis pros that the village doesn't have. The village can't get up to speed on that, and shouldn't try to. I mean, I've had these conversations with Jason too. It's just a no. And the tennis playing community would absolutely say unanimously, don't do this. Where municipalities have tried to run their own tennis program, it has not worked.
Okay.
It just hasn't. And so what we have right now is a relationship with a tennis service provider, or whatever you want to call them, that is positive and that brings in money. It just brings in money. The issue about rebuilding the courts where they are is a separate issue and just involves whether, this is close to water, it's a flood zone, and would regulations today allow you to build something there? Probably not. Probably not, if you were starting from scratch, right? I mean, a lot of the village couldn't be rebuilt where it is today because of our flooding issues and environmental concerns.
But now if our intentions are also to add things like basketball or a turf soccer field or something like that, how can you have the tennis company running it? Like, shouldn't it be the village?
I don't know. And that's something to think about. It's whether, would you have the tennis company run all of it? Would you have a tennis company run the tennis part? Would you subcontract out to, a soccer organization to run the soccer piece? Could the village run the soccer piece? I don't know. I mean, these are all questions, that turn on, well, who's building it? In the case of Sport Time and the proposed multi-sport facility, they were going to build it. The village wasn't going to build it, right? Could the village build a facility like that? I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I guess I'm thinking differently, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Because if that's the case, then why wouldn't you find, like, I've always dreamed of opening like a Chelsea Piers kind of building in the flats, and you buy a huge chunk of that property and build like a warehouse, and then you can have tennis, you can have a pool, you can have everything in there. And if it's going to not be run by the village, why wouldn't you help someone like a Chelsea Piers come into the village and build something for us so they can run it? If this is being run by an outsider on the village property. It doesn't have to be in Harbor Island.
No, it doesn't. I think, where do you find that land? That's the question. I think if you read all the minutes that Jeff did from the tennis committee, he goes through the environmental issues. He goes through the financial issues. It's all there. I mean, they've done this work. So I think that's a helpful place to start, to just understand what we have, what we need to fix, the potential of doing more with it, and what our limitations are.
So can I ask you a question, Jeff? So Kelly, based on what Kelly just said, so if we change the footprint on it, it's a no-go because of environmental issues?
We
You
don't know.
know, unfortunately, I don't have a direct answer to that, right? And if you look in the final recommendations document from the ad hoc tennis committee, I think I had read it last time we met, but we reported what we were told, particularly by the Sport Times CEO, Claude Oken, regarding the current site not being sustainable for the long term. But we discussed this quite a bit. We were not sure that's actually the case. We never got a definitive answer on that. So we reported what we were told by Claude. But it wasn't completely clear. And one starting point I was just thinking we could do, for this committee is, I know at one point while the tennis committee was going on, Carlos, the manager at Sport Time, when I was down there, he was showing me what they do to deal with the flooding that typically occurs over the summer. And the sump pump type of system that they have. Just throwing the idea out there, and obviously we would need to social distance and wear masks, but might this committee, set something up so we could actually go down there and take a look at it to help us understand, whether, the magnitude of the problem. Because I'm also just sensing that just by reading what we came up with before, particularly because it was not conclusive, it may not be enough. We might need to dig into that again.
I think that would be really helpful. And that's what we did with the dog park committee. We visited each site and it was much easier for all of us to understand like everything that we needed to understand.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, has anyone reached out to, say, Carlos or Claude and say, hey, we're thinking about doing keeping the structure here and increasing its footprint? Or, has that been discussed at all to any length?
Well, I'll point out, since not everybody may be aware, Sport Time has a bunch of facilities, including many on Long Island, and many of those facilities are multi-sports.
Right.
So they're in that business. And
Right.
of course, as you saw in their proposal from 2016, right, they were proposing a multi-sport facility. So
Right.
I'm sure they would love to talk about it.
They got a tremendous, well, let me rephrase that. He was building a huge facility at Randall's Island. Water park, everything, all inclusive, tennis, you name it. So I'm not certain if he ever completed that project.
No, I don't think he did. I
Okay.
think it's actually, I think they're delayed on it.
Okay, because that was in conjunction with New York City.
Well, they have a huge tennis facility on Randall's Island, right, of course.
Right.
But yeah, I think the multi-sport is more focused on Long Island.
But I think going back to what are we trying to achieve? What is our goal? What is sort of, if we look at the end of the day, recommendation wise, what are we actually trying to, I think last time we talked, we said, should we ask a survey of the residents to see what people wanted, if they could have, what was their wish list in putting, what exercise stuff they would love to have but what I'm so trying to work out, what is our mission, what are we trying to achieve, and then to work backwards from that.
I think what I think would be good is the end goal should be something multi-sport, because that allows for we're talking about year-round recreation. So the end goal should be you know, something that it's a multi-sport complex, tennis, if you have a soccer thing in there, basketball and swimming, like that's something like we need something like that at the harbor. It's just a matter of what, you know, even if it's not, I mean, it would have to be at the harbor because I don't know where, like what land we'd be able to put that at. But then again, at the harbor, like where do we put it? Like I don't think we would be able to put it like we were talking about at the by the water treatment plant. I don't think we'd be able to put it over there. And then if we keep it where it is, like are we going to be allowed to, you know, expand as Carlos said, to put it something on, you know, expand on each side to kind of put something there. Like I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that. So it's just a matter of the location. I think that's like what's really important is like where we would kind of go and do that.
Do
And
we
it would-
know, do we know if Sport Time would be interested in building or running a multi-sport facility?
Oh,
here?
absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I also mentioned that Claude had mentioned that when he was talking about other sports, indoor soccer was one that came up. And he also mentioned volleyball, which he said is very popular with a Hispanic community.
Well,
It's
not
got
only, it's got,
granularly.
yeah, I mean, in Rye, that's where it started, 10 years ago. And next thing you know, we started on Harbor Island on the sand and it has exploded. And then in addition, we were supposed to build volleyball courts, but it got shot down again where the blue building is, where the flagpole is basically. No, not the flagpole. Where Parks Department is, because there's supposed to be, and Tina, you were there when George was there, because the pier on the far out, it's,
Mhm.
they can't do anything there because they have to have access to the pier when construction is. That's
Right.
where the holding pen's gonna be when they start building that thing again. So we're renovating it. But I mean, the reason they were gonna move it also, Jeff and Sally, maybe you guys know and everyone else, they were gonna move the bubble to the treatment center because what they're going to do, and Tina, you can testify to this, there's always a shortage of fields and they were gonna create another field there. And that's
Mhm.
what their intentions were, basically to take the bubble, put it in the treatment center, create another field. Because there's always a shortage of fields. And you know, and what we may want to do, and you can get the users down there basically, and they're all going to say field shortage, field shortage, field shortage. But you also have to consider what the seniors may want, where I think like a walking path or an exercise area, you know, small things. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure other communities have these things already. Throughout the harbor, a basketball court, you know, hard court basically as well. You know, so it's a matter of setting up priorities, but I think the number one priority is multi-use and let someone else build it at their expense and we can generate a lot of money from it as well.
Yeah, because I think it'll definitely be used if you do anything multi-sport.
And the other thing that I did years ago, you know, because I was pretty fortunate to know someone, the Chart House. Anyone remember the Chart House? It was a waterfront restaurant, basically on the Hudson. And I always said, "What? I mean, it's like what's the one in Rye? Oh God,
Used to be
Seaside-
Seaside Johnny, but it's gone now. It's some other name, isn't it?
right, exactly. I mean, we always that'd be an ideal to have a food like you know going down to the Bronx, City Island. I mean, putting a restaurant there, and it doesn't need to be a restaurant. It could be a small place, as we recommended years ago. You know, it would generate a lot of money, be beneficial for the community.
I always understood it was because that you can't put a permanent structure like that on the water. I don't know if that was part of like the rules of,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But if you go to Nichols Boatyard, there's permanent structures there. They're just
Right,
raised.
but those have been there. I think
No,
nothing new.
they were there and they got soaked. They got hit by Sandy and now they're on stilts.
Ah.
So they've upgraded. They had them. They've just upgraded them. So they've taken them out of the water.
So it brings me back to the point of environmental. If there's a will, there's a way, you know? So keeping the structure where it is probably possibility of keeping it there and putting on stilts or whatever they need to do in order for it to be okay, I guess. I don't know.
I just don't think there's enough room there. I know there's not enough room on a village property anywhere else, but I just feel like it's maybe worth a conversation with Sports Time to see if they'd be
Yeah.
interested, maybe looking at properties to buy in the village to build something. then you would be able to build it to what you needed. It can be more than one floor to save space, and you can have lots of different things in it. I mean, if they're doing it already, they probably know what to do and are better experts than we are, you know? So I wonder if we meet down there, if we can have a conversation with them as well.
Just plant a seed. Have a dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
It would be been so nice if we'd actually, I mean, Kelly's heard and Jeff have heard me say this before, if we'd taken over A and P in the beginning, down by
Oh, wow, yeah.
95, and that could have been and there was a discussion. I remember going into a meeting about, they were trying to put a Y in, and I said, why don't you buy that building? And they all looked like they looked at me like I had 4 heads. But that would have been the perfect place because it would be an opposite, you know, the school. And I think it's pretty easy to get to for the, you know, for a lot of the village people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's a moot point now. And every time I drive through the flats, as I said last time, I tried to see, where is there? And there always seems to be lots of, you know, where they're storing cars and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, but
But
you know,
it was-
Kelly,
There might be any site available in the flats or anywhere else, because I'm not aware of anything that would be big enough for this.
I mean, I guess you would have to talk to a realtor.
But-
Commercial real estate.
Kelly,
Yeah.
question for you. Oh God, the industrial, Spats and who was the other guy?
That ad hoc committee, Keith Waite.
Yeah.
Well, Keith Waite moved. He moved to London.
Right.
Andy Spatz has also moved out of the village. So that committee hasn't met in ages, and I don't think they have scheduled a meeting for any
Okay.
time that I know of. So they're kind of on hold, I think.
And how
I
about
thought they moved back from London, didn't they? Or did they move back and sell it?
They just came back temporarily and sold it.
how about Vernie? Wasn't he part of that too?
I think he was, and he is still around.
Right. Right. Because I know they spent a lot of time and effort.
I do think though you need to step back and say, if there were land in the village, a massive piece of land that would accommodate a Chelsea Piers, I think someone would have found it and done it, right? I just think that we might be spinning our wheels as a committee. You might be spinning your wheels as a committee, you know, poking around looking for that kind of opportunity. I think what this committee should be focused on is, what do village residents want, and what, you know, has been discussed, what can we do within the realm of, you know, what's been discussed. I think if there is a place to do it somewhere else in the village, great. I don't know of that, but I think to, you know, go around and ask realtors for, you know, ideas about where to build something like that. I just worry about you guys spinning your wheels.
It's not going to go anywhere, Kelly. It's too pricey.
That's my worry, you know, and
Right.
and it's not as if this is a committee that, you know, has millions of dollars that the village is looking to invest. That's not what we're about. We don't have that. We don't have money.
I'm
But-
not talking about the village buying it though.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what we have now. The reason this committee exists is because the sport time contract is going to expire, and we need to know, what does the village want to do going forward after that? Do we want to renew it? Do we now want to ask them to rebuild it? You know, are we going to allow them to rebuild it there? Are we going to say, we'd like you to move it? Are we going to ask them, or anyone? I mean, we would do an RFP for any sports operation saying, here's this land. We're interested in a long-term relationship. Here's what we want. It's just more of a, what do we want?
So
Focus.
at the last meeting, you told us their lease ends on October 22nd. So what's like our deadline, I guess? When would we have to?
It's next 2000. It's next year, not this year.
Oh,
So they
20.
yeah. So we got a bit of time,
You do,
but not much time, because I think everything is, as
Oh,
Paula said, will takes forever.
it takes
I think-
forever. And the tennis community, which I have learned and had experience to a limited degree, but really learned, they start selling their seasonal subscriptions in the spring. So this time next year, Sport Time is going to be looking to renew or leave.
Okay.
They may even do it earlier because I know the Rye Racket ones have already come out. March 1st is their date.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, spring is a generous way of putting it.
So
Okay.
can I just make a suggestion? I think we should have a conversation with Claude, and company about a multi-sport facility. I mean, I think that would accommodate a lot of the needs in the village to some degree, and then just go beyond that, and we start expanding, and especially like down at Harbor Island or the various other parks as well. And just say, okay, talk to the rec committee as well. With people come down there, pickleboard, was it pickleboard, Tina?
They were supposed to build pickleball at
Stanley.
Stanley
Right.
Avenue Park.
And maybe that, or badminton or volleyball or something, or whatever, but I think the multi-sport is the big thing. I think for the community as a whole would accommodate many.
I agree. I think that we should have a meeting with them down there so we can see everything and see what ideas they have.
All right.
It's possible to expand there, like 'cause if it's not, obviously everything would have to be raised. That building has to be redone because long term it probably won't work out the way it
Right.
is. So
Hey
I can
guys,
see
I've got to
what
walk
things
away
could-
for a minute, but carry on. I'll be back.
Just to have
I
a
just want to point out what it was written in the recommendations, right, from the Claude Oken, and this is the summary, right? There's actually more detail on what I captured in the minutes, but he said it would be difficult, if not impossible, to build a hill or use stilts to raise the courts at the current location. Now he's talking tennis, but I assume that applies to multi-sport as well. And don't get me wrong, I think it's an interesting idea to just meet them down there and say, hey, if we stayed at this location, can you tell us what you could do, right? I'm just pointing out that it's going to be a little deja vu for them, because we just kind of got through talking about this when we had the tennis committee.
Yeah.
But did you talk about just tennis or you talked about multi-sport?
Oh, well, multi-sport came up, right? It couldn't help from coming up because they had made these recommendations in 2016, which, we sent around, which really I think were a direct, result of that survey done in 2004, right? They had thought that the village wanted to move the whole facility up towards the treatment plant. And then they came back and recommended what they would put there, and it was a multi-sport facility.
We should revisit it, and see. You'll say, hey,
But are we assuming that they would stay where they are? And so I think one of the questions we had is how do we find out, as you pointed out last time, Carlo, is there really an environmental concern or is that just words?
until they come back with documentation, and saying it is or it isn't, we won't know, right?
But there's probably no better way to learn about what they're going through than to hear it from them. They're the ones who maintain it right now.
Right.
So, Sally, when are you back in this area? If you were
I'm here. I'm in Larchmont.
oh,
I'm
fantastic.
in quarantine until Sunday.
Okay,
In
great.
theory, unless I got bugged on the plane. Who knows?
So we could set that up.
For next
We're
week
done with
or
quarantine.
the week after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to write down the next steps, just trying to think about how do we keep on in track of this. And I think one is, Tina, do we need to talk to the rec committee about it all? How do we need to work with them?
I mean, at this point, I would say not yet because it's just ideas. I mean, the only thing I was concerned with was the dog park. But if it's not going to be moved, then it shouldn't be an issue because we were going to put the dog park where you wanted to move it to.
I was wondering if it was a direct overlap, Tina. When I was looking at the diagram, I thought from the way you described it across from the toy box, that maybe it actually wasn't a direct overlap. Just a thought.
I couldn't, those pictures, it was hard for me to figure out what was where. I have it pulled up. It's like right at the road, in between the outfield of that baseball field that's on the road and the treatment plant.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, but it doesn't look like a direct overlap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which picture?
Maybe we should put a dog washing place, a grooming place inside of there. Call it sport pooch or something. Shampooch.
I mean, the other thing is, if you talk to the user organizations of Harbor Island, they'll give you more insight as well, or go to the senior center, whether it's the one on Boston Coast Road or the one at the down at the harbor. There's a senior center there as well, and just talk to those people. Then you're covered. More input, brainstorming.
Okay.
Just to get a feel what people are talking and asking.
So we don't have a village engineer, do we? Isn't that
She
what
said-
Kelly said last time?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So we can't, if we wanted anything environmental, how would we ever work that out if you don't have an engineer?
Jerry would have to find somebody, like he
Consultant,
had drawn
right.
a contract somebody to come to do the dog park.
So do we ask Jerry, do we have a conversation with Jerry and ask him whether there really is any environmental issue and how we can find that out?
I think Jerry would be our best bet to get any answers to anything that we need.
Okay.
And when we met with the dog park, he actually met us there too.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's very smart.
He's a great guy, and he follows through. I can tell you that.
So it all then comes back to, so the rec committee, we would hold off until later.
Yeah, I don't think it affects anything right now.
Okay, so then we'd set up some sort of meeting with Sport Time and ask them to come, if we could meet on site and see whether they could just walk us through some of the concerns and see what, have a conversation with them. And then the other thing I had here, talk to Jerry about the environmental concern. Is it really a concern? Or is it just, as you said, Carlo, last time, is it just another, it's not really a concern. And then the other thing I had on the list is what about, to cover not only the seniors, but what about putting together a basic question, a survey to see what the village residents would say?
I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. The more input, more ideas, brainstorming.
Because I think we know what we're trying to achieve, which is year-round sports in a indoor complex, if possible.
I mean, because
Mhm.
I know like the rec department runs programs down there, for seniors or kickboxing they've had yoga, maybe we can utilize that as well, Birthday
Yeah.
parties.
The
It's a
space that they
moneymaker.
use, the space they're currently using for all those classes is probably too small too.
Right. And they're limited.
Right.
Yeah. That building is pretty, those rooms are quite small because we were looking at moving the food pantry operation to down there, and it was just too tight.
Yeah.
So I think we have got 3 then, I think, steps get to going forward. Would anybody like to have a stab at creating some of the survey questions? God, it's like crickets. I learned that word, crickets.
I think it just depends on I think that's the easiest part. It's just like, what do we want to know? Do we want to have people? I think the best way to do that is list out a bunch of things. Don't have people write it in because then the data gets all messed up. Just put checkbox. Do you want basketball, soccer? Let them pick as many as they want. and then just send it out like that. And I don't know if we want to collect like name or address to verify like if they're a village resident or not. Like I don't know how we want to do that, but I think that's I just I can make that up quickly and send it out to you guys, and you guys add or take away whatever you want from it. And then I don't know who's going to send it out. I don't know if we send it to somebody that works for the Village of Mamaroneck and they put it out like a newsletter, and then like that's next step. But I think we need to put like if we can push it out, that just supports our case. If multiple people say like I want basketball, I want swimming, I want soccer, like that just pushes us forward to see that we really do need something that's multi-sport, because that's what our residents kind of want.
It might also be worth speaking with Jason to see what he thinks should get included into the survey, because he deals with a lot of people and knows what people have requested, and maybe he can help form the survey.
Yeah, maybe we can ask. Yeah, or yeah, if he wants, if he, it seems like he'd probably be the best person because he knows,
Yeah.
what the people would want. Like, what do the seniors want? What are they?
And he's seen a lot of things in different places as well.
Exactly.
It's been
Maybe we
exposed.
so maybe we can get him to kind of come up with a quick questionnaire, and we could make suggestions saying like we want these kind of questions in there, but feel free to add any other things that you see that other communities have, or see that most people are doing. Have something like that.
If you want, I can reach out to Jason.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
So can we leave Tina and Manny, you two, to work through that together?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would use something like a Survey Monkey to do it. And I would
Yeah.
encourage that we get people to enter their names and addresses, right?
Yeah.
We actually used Survey Monkey for something with the church we're involved in, and it got hacked, and it was kind of a mess in terms of some of the responses that were received.
Mhm.
So I think linking responses to names is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, and you want it to be the residents as well. So
Yeah,
you want to
Yeah,
make
we want some way to confirm that they are,
Right. Mm-hmm.
10543.
exactly.
No, I'm a 10538.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm a village, but I'm
No,
on the
that's
other.
fine.
I'm on the dark side.
no, I hear you.
I'm over the
Not
other side
saying
of
a
the
word.
pond on the dark side.
Not saying a word.
Yeah, it's going
Well,
through
because
my
you're-
bedroom.
Right. But I'm not all inclusive, but mostly I think it should be for the 10543 residents in reference to what their wants are.
Well,
Yeah.
Sally is a village resident, although her zip code is 105. It's not
Right.
105.
Right.
Is there anybody in Rye Neck that is sort of part of the village on a different zip? Kelly?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are there any residents in Rye Neck that are also village with a different zip code like me?
I believe all the Rhinebeck folks are 10543. The ones I know are 10543. And their mailing address is Mamaroneck.
There might be some that attend Rhinebeck schools that are Rye zip code, but they're not Mamaroneck residents.
So are we including the Rye Neck people too?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I think Jeff and I can link back with Carlos and have a conversation with him and see how he wants to handle the visit. And we may want to have I wonder if we would need a visit followed by a Zoom with Claude, so that we can have follow-up questions with Claude as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So we can pick that piece up. And Carlo, because you know Jerry so well, do you
Mhm.
want to pick up the environmental piece?
I'll call them.
Okay. Perfect. And we've all got something to do. All right. Is there anything else that we think we need to do? I think I would like to probably create some sort of end goal statement and then try and, and some sort of target dates and then back from there.
I think it's good. I think, yeah, putting, if once you set a goal, then it gives you something to kind of work towards.
Because we know what, we know that it's going to be tough trying to get everything done in a year's time, because we probably have to tell Sport Time by, I guess, January, if they're not, you know, if they were going to go, an RFP is going to take how many months? Was it 4 months at least? I mean, you'd want some time in there, because if you find a new vendor, it's not going to be easy for them to transition over. So we probably need to just put in the timeline and say, you know, we know it ends here, but we really need to tell them this, so that the RFP is going out, so they have time to reply to it. Okay. Anything else?
Not only that, you know, if we were to do anything big at the current, even at the current location, right? I think when we were talking about it before, big plans, there was this assumption that the facility where it is would be left untouched until the new facility was ready. So there wouldn't be a downtime. But if we're now talking about at the current location, building something different, I would think, you know, Sport Time or the new vendor coming in would need to account for that, right? There's going to be downtime when that, you know, it's just not available for anything while construction goes on.
But once it's built, Jeff, and if they're able to add the multi facility, we'll say, they'll make up for the lost revenue.
Oh yeah, we want to do it for the long
Okay.
term. I totally
Right.
agree with that. Yeah. I'm just saying in terms of planning, that's a reason to do this
Right.
all as soon as possible, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's-
to get
it's-
as many of these little boxes checked, just so that it's just like,
Right.
we're ready, like they'll know kind of what they want to do. Because if March 1st is really that date where like those annual things go out, then it's just like, like we need, you know, March 1st of next year. But yeah, like that's really, that gets, you know, we'd have to have a lot of this stuff done by the summer.
And then the other thing I just thought about is we should all review the master plan. And I think it would be good, maybe I can set up some sort of, you know, if people can look at it, and then, you know, those that are, you know, put something in a Google Doc that says I would change it by you know, change what was in the different categories of it, so that we know what we would want to potentially recommend as part of the master plan. Because I think Sport Time is one issue, is one thing. It's just, as you said, Carlo, it's like, how do we create a walking, you know, is the recommendation to create a walking path? You know, what other things do we want? You know, do we want to put some hoops in the car park, you know, where it's not used, where there's downtime, so that the kids at least could go somewhere to play basketball in the park?
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
very
again,
different.
it's over, 100 years or 50 years, whatever it may take, phases, and it takes money.
Yeah. And I think if it takes money and there's a need to do some fundraising, that could potentially be another thing of, this is what we want. And, how do we create something, how do we buy basketball courts, nets if we can't afford it, and making it, as we had done before, small purchases to the benefit, which would give a larger benefit. So we've got areas that are really being used properly.
And there's a lot of money in this community.
There is. And I think people are very generous if you get them on the right,
Yep.
track.
Yep.
You have to know what you want to ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they know
Okay.
like what our mission would be, then yeah, I think it's easy to get them on board.
Well, Tina, remember when Howie Jordan came down with that gentleman about building a facility for basketball?
Mhm.
I mean, I think he was really interested in putting up a new structure there at his
Right.
expense.
And they
Mhm.
were going to pay, I'm pretty sure they were going to pay for it. I think I watched that meeting.
Yes.
He-
Like, yeah, they were going to pay for it. And if we can get them into this somehow
Right.
to and partner with them to do something to get a facility, then
Yep.
I think we need to figure out how to do that.
Right.
Okay. So I think we all have some, I'm just wary of the time because we're up to our hour. And I think we have some next steps to do. Should we set this as a standing meeting every 2 weeks if we need it? And if we don't, we'll just cancel it. And in the meantime, then we just communicate with each other on, if we've got a date with Sport Time, maybe that takes over the meeting or however, just to see how that works. Or do you want to, initially, and then maybe we break it into a, longer as we go through.
Sounds good.
That sounds good. If, yeah, we can do every 2 weeks, and then if we
And
use the
just
sports
we'll
time,
just start
we'll
with that,
post
yeah, and then we can review it. Okay. So
If
then,
we put sport time on site, do we need to publish that on the website like we do these meetings and you know,
I
invite the
don't,
public?
when we did with the dog park, we didn't.
Okay.
so then our next meeting would be March 11th
Got it.
at 5:30. And I'll talk to, is that the right, is it okay if I talk to Sally?
That'd be
Kelly?
great, Sally. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there anything else we're missing, Kelly?
No, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we all know what our next steps are, and we'll get together. You know, we probably may see each other sooner than in 2 weeks because of trying to see what sport time have. But I think sport time will probably turn into 2 different meetings because I'd want to actually listen to Claude talk as opposed to Claude talk through a mask, which would be hard to do.
Okay.
I think that makes sense, Sally.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you all.
right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Everyone,
Okay.
everyone stay well. Good night.
And
You as well.
you.
Have a good week.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.